Hi, I'm Chris Blum. I am one of the ministers here at Bhava, and I also am a sound bowl practitioner. You can learn more about my sound bowls at thespiritedsoul.org. And I'm just going to play a little mini sound bath for everybody today. So if you feel called, close your eyes. Just take a couple nice deep breaths in and I'll get started.
Good morning, beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us today. Happy Sunday. Yay. Living in partnership with Spirit, living the dream. So, what are we doing today? My name is Ingrid Turner. I'm the founder of the Bhava Spiritual Mission. The mission is a church. We are a non-denominational church. We are truly embracing the dogma of no dogma, and we are here to help you live in partnership with Spirit, to help you connect with the divine, with the infinite through healing, deep healing, using our intuition as the superhighway to God consciousness and bring that out into the world on the platform that feels most authentic and appropriate for you. That's what we're all about. So we're here today to do that. Today we're going to bring through a channeled message from Spirit. So I sat down this morning and did my meditation, did my prayers, did my whole thing, my whole prep, and brought through a message from Spirit, which we're going to talk about today. I definitely have some notes about what I pulled through. And the point of this broadcast, the point of us coming together is that all of us come together in the message with Spirit, in the message from Spirit. So I want to encourage you that when you hear the message from Spirit, as you receive it into your being, into your body, if you have any pings, if you have any questions, if you have any sort of downloads, insights, I want you to share that with us. Leave a comment, and I want to bring you on stage, so to speak, and I want to share in that. And what we're doing is you and I are expanding on this message. I bring through this message through the lens of my perspective, which I'm going to talk about today, and you're bringing it through the lens of your perspective. And when we bring our perspectives together with the message from Holy Spirit like that, we gain a deeper, richer understanding of the divine, of what we're here for, of the message itself. We're here having a human experience. We're in a human body. We're in a physical body, which by its nature is very limited. It's very, sort of boxed in, and we're here for that experience. And since we're here for that experience, no one of us is going to grok the divine in its entirety, and that's okay. But when we come together, we each get sort of similar pieces and new perspectives, and we can really expand on our understanding of divine spirit. That's the power of community. That's the power of coming together and opening ourselves up to divine spirit. So just a little bit about my process. I channel a spirit guide named Mons. What is a spirit guide? I call him my user-friendly interface with the divine. Again, going back to I'm human, I'll never really understand the totality of the divine spirit of creation, but my spirit guide is a being that comes to me, feels very real. It's real visceral. It's very conversational. And he dictates to me this message from spirit, which I write down verbatim, word for word, as precisely as I am able to. And then I give that to you. And once I give you that message, I'm going to talk a little bit about it. And then I want to bring you on. I want to hear your thoughts, your feelings, your inspirations, your questions. What comes to you from this message from spirit? Let's get down and dirty and nitty gritty. This is going to be amazing today. All right. So the first step for me is going to be, for all of us, is going to be grounding in. I'm just going to take just a minute. And then I'll go ahead and read the message from spirit, and then we'll get started. All right. So close your eyes with me. I want you to take a few deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Feel all of your energy pool in your root chakra. And maybe it'll feel warm or tingly, or you'll just be aware that it's happening. Take a deep breath in and pull the energy from your root into your heart. Exhale and hold the energy in your heart. Inhale and pull the energy from your heart into your crown. Exhale and hold the energy in your crown. Inhale and pull the energy out of your body. Feel it connect with divine source energy. And with the out breath, pull that energy back into your body and into your heart. Breathe in and hold the energy in your heart. Breathe out and pull the energy down to your root. Breathe in and hold the energy in your root. Breathe out and push the energy down your legs and into your feet. Breathe in and hold the energy in your feet. Breathe out and push the energy into the earth. Feel that energy hook in with the earth's core, and take a deep breath in and pull it back up towards your feet. Exhale. Inhale and feel the energy hit the soles of your feet and move up your legs and pool again in the root chakra, and exhale into your root chakra. All right, I want to encourage you to keep your eyes closed while you listen to this message from spirit. Listen to me reading it to you, and just open up your aura to receive divine spirit's message. I don't want you to have to worry about remembering every single word, but just allow it to sink into your whole being. And you can trust that you will recall whatever you need to recall when you need to recall it. All right. Today's message is about guilt and compassion. Guilt is attached and responsible feeling for what you are not responsible for. When you are taking responsibility for what you authentically ought to, you don't feel guilt. Guilt only emerges when you take responsibility for what is not yours. Compassion is non-attached. It is love, just love. When you just love another person, you never feel guilt about their experience or attached to their outcome or how it affects yours, because it doesn't. When you just love, you are impervious to the subtle, often unconscious manipulations of others for your time and attention, because your identity is not attached to their experience. The secret to releasing yourself from guilt is to love more, not to do more, but to find unconditional love in your heart. Your guilt is a symptom of not love for self and not love for the other person who appears to trigger your guilt. Guilt is attachment to another person's experience that impacts your own authentic self-expression. You do no one any favors by hampering your expansion. If guilt has you feeling stuck, the answer is to love more. To put the person, the situation, and yourself into your meditation and prayers every day and practice love. Your experience of guilt will melt away, and with you hardly noticing, until one day you'll realize the coin has flipped and you are living in compassion with guilt being no more. The answer is always more love. Guilt is just one of these emotions that tricks you into believing you are stuck. Anything that creates an attachment outside of you imprisons you in illusion. The answer is always to look for the loving expression of that energy. Compassion is the loving expression of the energy that creates guilt. Every emotion, every experience will have a fear-based expression and a love-based expression. Find the love-based expression and keep choosing that to be free and aligned. Remember, the answer is always more love. I was really, really happy to receive this message from Spirit today. It's not surprising it came through me because I have been coming into intense awareness of my own codependency. Let's take a deep breath. There, I just wanted to dive in and talk about me, didn't I? Let me give you a minute. Oh, humans. So, guilt, yeah. I've been coming into intense awareness of my own codependent behaviors in my own life. Guilt being one of them, but also, other stuff that comes up. And I think a lot of us who are on the spiritual journey, on the path to self-expansion and self-love, become aware of this at some point. And I became very aware of the way that codependency shows up in my life. Things like feeling guilty or responsible for another person, or consciously or unconsciously, really is a self-sabotaging behavior. It's a way that we keep ourselves small, which is what Spirit was talking about here. This is how you keep yourself imprisoned in illusion. But what I love about this, and what I didn't really get until I channeled this message from Spirit, when we see these issues within ourselves, like, oh my God, I'm codependent. Like, oh my God, I'm self-sabotaging. Oh my God. Seeing it is really powerful. And seeing it is what points you in the direction of the next door you need to walk through in order to heal it. And this is an example of seeing it and Spirit opening a door. And the door that Spirit opened was showing us how to move through this when it shows up in our life. When we realize that we are keeping ourselves stuck with an emotional and energetic experience that is fear-based, that is from a fear-based perspective. And the power in the reframe, reframing that to see what is the love-based expression of that. Now, reframing isn't like, okay, what's the opposite? Like, what's the opposite of guilt? Not guilt. That's not a reframe. That's an opposite. A reframe is like turning the situation over until you find the more empowering and love-based expression of that experience. So if compassion is the love-based expression of the same energy that is also guilt. Guilt is fear-based, it's contracted, it's attached. Compassion is open, loving, and kind. It's witnessing. Compassion enables you to create incredible space, to hold incredible space for another person and for yourself, to do this in tremendous healing and transformative flips. When you feel guilty, you're creating a container like this big for yourself and for any other person that's involved. And it is impossible to move through that space into healing, into true expansion, showing up fully and authentically. The other thing I want to talk about is, as I was channeling this, a question popped into my head for Spirit. I was like, well, okay, guilt. So like, what if you really screw up? Like, like what if you really mess with somebody's head or hurt somebody? I mean, then there's guilt attached to that. And we tend to think it's like guilt kind of makes you a good person if you feel guilty for screwing up. And Spirit says, no. Guilt may show up initially, but when you make amends for that experience, amends to that person, when you hang on to guilt, you are holding yourself back and holding the other person back even. You make amends, you make it right, you do the best that you can, and then you have to release the experience. You have to release the other person to their experience of that experience with you. Anytime we hold on to guilt, it is keeping us chained. It is keeping us stuck in illusion, keeping us stuck, not just stuck, but like stuck in the mud, like way out of our expansion. You are so powerful. That is the major theme with Spirit. Anytime Spirit comes through, Spirit is like, you just don't even know. And you ought to. Spirit is always trying to help us find our power, find our highest expression, our next highest expression. So next, I wanted to feel into, okay, so I love how Spirit said, practice love in your meditation. And again, this is why our spiritual practice, our dedicated spiritual practice is so important. We have to get into the habit to carve out that space for us, for our alignment with Spirit. And when we do that, when we come into practice and we put love into practice, if you're having a situation in life, like if you're like me and have discovered that you're extraordinarily codependent with all the people in your life, or like you veer in that, it's something that you feel like you have a struggle with, just remember that's the fear-based expression of a lot of love. Fear-based expression of a lot of love is that codependent behavior. So injecting more love, being conscious about projecting that unconditional, unfettered love to yourself and the people in your life, especially the ones that are really kind of giving you a catch right now, right? Whether you're connected with them or not in the moment, sometimes, we can be codependent even when we're not in like relationship with that person. But what I mean is like, if there's a separation, like if you're not talking to them, if it blew up in your face, there can still be that energy between you two. So the way that the way that I do the love thing, the way I practice unconditional love in my meditation is, and this really helps. I've done it with success. And then I've slipped and then I've done it. But, remember, everything is a practice. Everything we do is a practice. There's no perfection in this realm. I love the Ram Dass, I think, was the one who said, a tree grows in all different directions and you don't judge the direction of the branches. And so it's always growing and it's all unique and it's all different, and humans are the same, and it's all a practice, and we're never going to get it perfect. Perfection does not exist in this realm. And that's the beauty of this dimension, the beauty of this physical human experience, is every experience is so unique. And your job is to just show up and practice and continue to expand and grow your branches and reach towards the sky that you will never reach. But in reaching towards the sky that you never reach, you expand and become more free and happy than you ever thought possible in every moment. That's why we do this big work. That's why we show up for Spirit. That's why we live in partnership with Spirit, for our own happiness and expansion, which then shows up and turns around and becomes divine service to the planet. What are we here for? To move from fear to love. And here's Spirit again talking about our little nitty-gritty experiences and saying, what is the love-based expression? That's how we practice it in our day-to-day life, in every single moment. So for me, the practice that I do is I drop into my heart and I say, I love you to myself 108 times. And you can use prayer beads or a mala to count to 108. This is a really fat one, so it's got 52 or 54, but if I did it twice, it would be 108. Or you can use your finger pads as well. So you just count all of the 3 pads like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If you do that on one hand, you've got a round of 12. And then on the other hand, when you do one round of 12, you hit 1. And then you do another round of 12, 2, and then another round of 12, 3. And when you get down to your ring finger on this hand, you've done 108. And you know what? It goes really fast. It's like the easiest thing. And you feel really good. You feel really good when you're giving yourself that love. And then you take that unconditional love that you just cultivated in your heart and you move it out to the person or the situation or whatever is showing up. that is producing an energy of guilt or something like that. There's a fear-based expression that you've become aware is really keeping you stuck, but you feel like you can't get yourself out of it. Because what we tend to want to do is fight our way out of it. Guess what? That's more of a fear-based expression. Not going to work for you. So take that love, project it onto the situation, and do another round of 108, I love you. I love you. And allow yourself to feel that unconditional love, because you're just focused on the energy and that person, that being, that soul. And you're not focused on the experience or the story or whatever is going on with you and them and what have you. You are focused and projected onto that person, that being, and you're feeding them unconditional love. And that is how you practice one way. There's countless ways to practice love, but that is my way of practicing love in meditation and in prayer. And you pray for those people. The power of prayer right now is unprecedented. The energies in this dimension, in this paradigm, in this new paradigm, this new earth are so conducive to prayer. It's juicy. So if you don't have a prayer practice, I suggest you implement one. Drop into your heart, say your prayer. Say your prayers to that person, say your prayer for yourself. So that's a lot that's showing up. But let's talk about, I want to kind of ask you a primer question some primer questions. Spirit talked about guilt today really strongly. And, that's because, that's my lens of perspective. That's something that came up for me recently. It was like, oh my God, I have a lot of guilt. And my initial response was, okay, I see it. I don't know what to do about it, but I see it. And seeing it and not taking my own BS personally, that's really important. We all got it. We all got the nonsense. Don't take it personally. And then you can use that insight. When you see it, you can use that. You can use that to expand into your highest expression. And Spirit just told us how to do that. Spirit told us how to do that by saying, find the loving expression of your experience. Not the fear expression, but the love expression. For this situation, for guilt, feeling guilt around, somebody else and something else, the love expression is compassion. That's the reframe. Let's go back to our example about, I really goofed. I messed somebody up. I really hurt somebody. The loving expression for that is forgiveness, right? And you're just going to have to feel into this. And you're going to have to just keep trusting Spirit and what you get and cultivating the love in your heart. And what Spirit said to us was, pretty soon, without you even noticing, you're going to release guilt and you will be living in an energy of compassion. You will be living in the highest expression of that energy, the love expression of that energy. That is some powerful juju. So what are some other examples? What are some other fear-based energies that we live in, that we put ourselves in, that cages us with these bars of illusion that we think we can't get out, that makes us feel stuck and imprisoned and unable to move? Judgment is one that comes to mind for me. So if we think about judgment, self-judgment, or judgment of another, boom, contracted energy. What is the loving expression of judgment? What is the loving expression of judgment? Let's feel into that. Another one might be feeling not good enough. Real low self, I'm not good enough for that. I can't do that. I can't do that. What is the loving expression of that energy? And it's okay if it takes a bit to really come to understand the loving expression of that energy. This is not a head trip. This is not a head journey. This is a heart journey. And the more you are able to see where you and me are living in our fear-based expressions, in fear-based experiences, and committing to moving through the door to healing. As it opens, the doors will open. Spirit will show you this is the loving experience. And then you begin to choose that loving experience every single day. Your commitment makes you vigilant. And this is how you expand into your highest expression, how you become free and happy and aligned and living in partnership with Spirit, and then turning around and taking that example, taking the way that you live your life and giving it to other people as a gift, in the gift of divine service. All right. Mouthful, but really, really good. I'm going to read our message one more time, and then I want to take your comments. I want to hear what you have to say about this message and your experience with this. I'm really interested to build out this patchwork quilt of ours. Okay, one more time. Guilt is attached and responsible feeling for what you are not responsible for. When you are taking responsibility for what you authentically ought to, you don't feel guilt. Guilt only emerges when you take responsibility for what is not yours. Compassion is non-attached. It is love, just love. When you just love another person, you never feel guilt about their experience or attached to their outcome or how it affects yours, because it doesn't. When you just love, you are impervious to the subtle, often unconscious manipulations of others for your time and attention, because your identity is not attached to their experience. The secret to releasing yourself from guilt is to love more, not do more, but to find unconditional love from your heart. Your guilt is a symptom of not love, to not love for self and not love for the other person who appears to trigger your guilt. Guilt is attachment to another person's experience that impedes your own authentic self-expression. You do no one any favors by hampering your expression. If guilt has you feeling stuck, the answer is to love more, to put the person, the situation, and yourself into your meditation and prayers every day and practice love. Your experience of guilt will melt away with you hardly noticing it, until one day you'll realize the coin has flipped and you are living in compassion with guilt being no more. The answer is always more love. Guilt is just one of these emotions that tricks you into believing you are stuck. Anything that creates an attachment outside of you imprisons you in illusion. The answer is always to look for the loving expression of that energy. Compassion is the loving expression of the energy that creates guilt. Every emotion, every experience will have a fear-based expression and a love-based expression. Find the love-based expression and keep choosing that to be free and aligned. Remember, the answer is always more love. The answer is always more love. Well, that's easy. Done. All right, let's bring on some, here we go. Let's see. Heather, one of our beautiful Bhava babes. Good, nice, juicy one here. Guilt is definitely a huge part of codependency I had to learn to let go of. We do not need to take ownership of another person's choices. That creates blame and judgment, and we are not tethered to someone else's journey or choices, only our own. We need to detach, hold space for them, and send them and ourselves love to grow. It's a lot harder than it sounds, and it's not a one-time thing. It's a daily practice to get out of a loop. Yeah, baby, back to that practice, practice, practice. You know, this stuff is really deeply conditioned in us. It's not, you know, these fear-based expressions, I don't believe we're born with them. I believe we learn them. And we learn them because love. We learn them from people we love, and we love them. And so we mimic them and we embody their experience, and on back down the line. But we also get it from, you know, our culture. We get it from the media. We get lots and lots of conditioning. And so this stuff, what's comforting is it's not authentically ours. This guilt, this sort of, it's not authentically ours, but it is kind of wedged deep in there. And so it is a practice. It is a practice. It is peeling back the layers. It is noticing, it is seeing, it is feeling gratitude for the seeing. That's really powerful. Again, not taking your BS personally, feeling gratitude for the seeing, and then allowing the healing to occur spontaneously. The hardest part is commitment. The hardest part is commitment to healing this nonsense. And then you just keep walking through the doors as spirit opens them for you. Oh, Lena has a good one about judgment. Judgment is an attempt for me to control a situation, and I know it's fear-based. When I cast judgments and throw labels, I get a feel for, we lost some of your, some of your comment there. But so that's really good seeing that. Judgment is an attempt for me to control a situation. Judgment is an attempt for me to control a situation, which is fear-based. What is the love-based expression of judgment? I really want to invite you to feel into that as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts and see what that is. Okay, my comments are going all over the place. Hang on, I'm doing all the adminning here. Yes. Okay, sister. Good, Jamie. You're hitting on all my things. I'm amazed at the time of this message. Thank you for the gift. Can't express how hard this message hit me. Yeah, but girl, I feel you. I know. I downloaded it today, and I was like, I feel like this is just for me, But the truth is, when it's for me, it's for all of us. When it's for me, it's for all of us. Lena Bag, I'm getting better at moving through guilt, but judgment has reared its ugly head as of late. I realize that judgment is an attempt for me to control a situation. Here we go. I know it's fear-based. When I am casting judgment on myself, on others, I know I am simply grasping too hard and trying to control too much. This message reminds me to move into love and trust love, not operate from fear and control. Yes, and the easiest way to do that, sweet Lena, is to find the love-based expression of the energy of judgment. What is judgment? So let's sort of like pick this apart a little bit. What does judgment feel like in the body? To me, it feels like defensive. When you're judging another person, it feels defensive. When you're judging yourself, there's a bit of a different energy. No. Let's go ahead and go into that. I'm kind of feeling this with spirit now. There's a defensiveness, there's a fight, there's a boundary, there's a back off. That's the energy that I feel when I feel judgment. And Lena, as you're listening to this, I want you to tell me if this resonates with you, because this can be very individual, or it can really resonate with a lot of us. So for me, I feel judgment is back off. So the loving expression of judgment is to understand and trust and honor what is an energetic match and what is not. If you're judging something inside yourself, then you just identified a piece of your experience or a piece of your behavior, a piece of stuck energy that is just not a match for your authentic expression, for your authentic experience anymore. And so when you can let go of the story, this judgmental overlay, which is the story, I'm bad, I'm terrible, good, you're bad, you're terrible, good, then you are able to simply be with the energy and say, that's not for me, or that's not for me anymore. And that's a really powerful experience that judgment gives you. If you find yourself judging, flip it and go into that loving expression, which is, oh, that's not for me. Okay, that's not for me. And then let that be it. More love 2021. Yeah. More love. So let's see if there's anything juicy that I missed. Need to forgive. Well, that's pretty good. Okay. We have some good comments. We have some good feedback. Well, that feels really, really yummy. So I would like to read the message one more time. I know this is the third time, but what I find is when we're reading the message, when we hear it again and again after experiencing it and going into opening ourselves up to it and expanding on that patchwork quilt, that's a really powerful place a powerful way to open up even further. And when we hear the message from spirit, again, more of it sinks in. It goes deeper layers. Although we do have some more comments. 3 is magical. Yes, please. Okay, Jamie, you're great. Thank you for that. Here's Callie's love-based expression, how she feels the love-based expression of judgment is. The love-based expression of judgment is being open to possibilities and dropping the labels and the ego. That's beautiful, Callie. Thank you for that. Okay, magical number 3. All right. Back to the message. I woke up today with my ears like so clogged. I'm on the internet. So spirit's like, shh. Guilt is attached and responsible for what you are not responsible for. When you are taking responsibility for what you authentically ought to, you don't feel guilt. Guilt only emerges when you take responsibility for what is not yours. Compassion is non-attached. It is love, just love. When you just love another person, you never feel guilt about their experience or attached to their outcome or how it affects yours, because it doesn't. When you just love, you are impervious to the subtle, often unconscious manipulations of others for your time and attention, because your identity is not attached to their experience. The secret to releasing yourself from guilt is to love more, not do more, but to find unconditional love for them in your heart. Your guilt is a symptom of not love for self, and not love for the other person who appears to trigger your guilt. Guilt is attachment to another person's experience that impedes your own authentic self-expression. You do no one any favors by hampering your expansion. If guilt has you feeling stuck, the answer is to love more, to put the person, the situation, and yourself into your meditation and prayers every day and practice love. Your experience of guilt will melt away with you hardly noticing it, until one day you'll realize the coin has flipped and you are living in compassion with guilt being no more. The answer is always more love. Guilt is just one of the emotions that tricks you into believing you are stuck. Anything that creates an attachment outside of you imprisons you in illusion. The answer is always to look for the loving expression of that energy. Compassion is the loving expression of the energy that creates guilt. Every emotion, every experience will have a fear-based expression and a love-based expression. Find the love-based expression and keep choosing that to be free and aligned. Remember, the answer is always more love. Always more love. Renee's got something about judgment. Boy, that's a hot topic. I hope Spirit comes through and talks about that really soon because, judgment's a big one, right? Judgment, but is judgment always negative? Can it be sometimes just the truth? Judgment with love? Well, I feel like judgment is by its nature not loving, but when you discern, when you feel not for me, when you understand that this is an energetic mismatch, I release you with love. It's the same energy, but a loving expression. When we're talking about judgment, I feel like, sort of what we're referring to is like that, that really sort of ugly experience, especially when we're judging ourselves or judging a lot of, judging other people. Remember, judgment comes up because you are experiencing what is not an energetic match to you, whether that is a person, whether that is a piece of yourself, okay? When you can let go of the value judgment, right? Putting a value on that. This person is good or bad. I am good or bad. This behavior is good or bad, and simply say, not a match, and then move on. Detach yourself energetically from that experience or that person outside of you, or that experience within you. Let's look at self-judgment. Let's say you're beating yourself up for, I'll take, guilt, right? I see that I'm feeling guilty. I see that it's keeping me hampered. I'm feeling really stuck. God, Ingrid, why can't you just do better? You should just be able to just move through that. Just who cares? Just make it happen. Just pick your one foot up and pick in front of the other and just blow everything up. And so then you're not really helping with that. You got more fear-based energy. But if I have a judgment about it, oh my God, I can't believe I'm feeling that guilt. I can switch that. I can reframe that. Okay, that's not an energetic match for me anymore. And so I'm going to take the guilt and I'm going to take that judgment. I'm going to take both of those fear-based expressions. I'm going to flip them on their head. I'm going to get into compassion for myself, compassion for another person, for whoever is showing up that appears to be triggering that. They're a gift if they're triggering. And I'm going to flip the judgment on its head and show up with a loving expression of, and I have recognized that it is no longer an energetic match. And let's just stay in that energy. Let's just drop that into our heart. Compassion and discernment, loving discernment. Oh, I see what's true for me. And then it's very hard to take action too soon on these things because it's wedged in there, right? So you pour love into it. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And the rocks, the solid, what feels like such solid structure that's keeping that wedged in there. It's like sort of the stone. It starts to break apart and fall away. And truly, before you know it, with you hardly even noticing, one day you'll realize, oh my God, I'm living in compassion. Oh my God, I'm honoring my discernment. And I'm not having to tell myself a story about it. I'm just living in a love-based energy. And I used to live in the fear-based energy. And it's through the work of love, self-love, and unconditional love, practice of unconditional love for self and for other, that we get there, that we break apart these uncomfortable, self-sabotaging behaviors, energies, and experiences. And the more we attract that, remember, when you see it and you're still attracting that experience, maybe people or circumstances that are triggering that in you, that trigger is your gift. That trigger is a dynamite opportunity to blow up a huge part of the stuff that's keeping you stuck. And the way you do that is you get into the feels of it and you blast it with love. You find the loving expression. Use your BS, okay? Use it, honor it, love it, and give it to yourself. All right, that feels like a really good note to end on. I'm feeling sort of this cool, completed feeling that I tend to feel when I've delivered the message, the channel message. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for creating this beautiful sacred space together. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for helping us expand on this message and just, keep sewing patches onto this quilt and helping us all understand more greatly, more in depth, more richly and deeply the message from Divine Spirit. I am madly in love with you. I appreciate you so much. And, before we go, just a couple of announcements, if you'll hang with me for a minute. I said earlier at the beginning, we are a digital church. We are non-denominational. That means that we are here to help you live in partnership with Spirit, and any walk of life, all faiths, all containers are way good with us because we're all connected with that same thread of faith. Okay, we're all connected. If this message has been valuable to you, please give our Facebook page a like, our YouTube channel a subscribe, and share this video with whoever you think would benefit from this message, and from this message from Spirit and this discussion today. And if you feel like you want to help us out even further, you can donate to the Bhava Spiritual Mission. Your donation is tax deductible. So you can do a one-time donation following that link. It's also in the description of the video. Or you can set up a monthly recurring donation, which would be really helpful as well. There are hard costs to what we do. So this is life. Bhava is life. Living in partnership with Spirit is life. And we thank you so much for your support and showing up and being a part of this community. Our mission, if you want to join our mission, join our ministry to take this message out into the world, to do the deeper healing work, we have a powerful container. The Bhava Ministry is here to help you break away those blocks that we were talking about at breakneck speed, and to show up living in partnership with Spirit, to integrate Spirit into your entire life. And we also, we teach you how to commune with Spirit clearly, consistently, through developing your intuition, which is the superhighway, the channel to connect with Holy Spirit, with God consciousness. So if you're seeing what I'm doing and you're like, that's for me, getting out there and being of service and connecting with Spirit on the regular and living in partnership with Spirit is for me, I encourage you to send me an email to the email on your screen. It's also listed in the description on the video, Ingrid@bhavamission.org. And let's talk. Let's see if this is going to be a good match for you and for me. All right. Okay. Once again, thank you so much. I love you madly. Have an amazing, wonderful, fabulous Sunday and a great rest of your week.